Jim Stolpa's just 21, a private in the Army and a proud young dad. 5 months ago, his wife Jennifer gave birth to a baby boy they named Clayton. The young family seem happy enough, but there's a sad reason for this trip. Jim's grandmother recently died, and although it means a long overnight drive from Northern California to Idaho, it's their duty to say their farewells.
I was quite driven to get to this funeral. I was a very family-oriented person, and the loss of any member of the family was hard on me.
Severe blizzards are causing extensive road closures again today in California and Nevada.
It's December, so it isn't surprising to hear the radio reporting less than great weather.
And highway patrols are advising drivers to stay home unless their journeys are absolutely necessary.
They were telling us that the roads would be closed probably until the next morning, and we certainly didn't want to wait a whole nother day.
Their destination is 1,000 miles away. They plot a direct route that heads east from San Francisco, crosses a lot of Nevada wilderness, then veers north to Pocatello, Idaho. When the radio reports that heavy snowfall has forced the main highway to close, the couple stop to pick up a local map.
We got some coffee, you know, just stuff like that, but didn't really purchase anything that could hold us over for any amount of time, that's for sure.
Okay, so blizzard's right here. The I-80's closed.
Well, let's go north and cut across east, right here.
The new route looks good on paper, but what they don't know is that moist air from the Pacific is driving up over the mountains ahead, creating a lot of snow. Whipped up by powerful winds close to the ground, this weather condition is turning into a heavy blizzard.
We could see dark skies coming from the west.
Did we take a right out of the 299, is that right?
Okay.
And it was getting to be late, and there wasn't much traffic on the road.
Before nightfall, Jim attempts to call his mother to let her know where they're at.
Damn it. It's eating all my quarters.
Probably the biggest mistake that we made was not letting anyone know where we were headed.
Now really concerned about the weather, they have the truck fitted with snow chains.
It almost seemed like we went through the storm, because then after a while there wasn't any snow on the ground anymore. And, you know, when you have chains on your car, you just have to go so slow.
But after a while, the snow chains seem like overkill.
I got out and I looked up and down the road, and I didn't see snow on the road. And I actually got down and felt it, and it was dry. So we opted to take the chains off. You know, we were young, confident. We didn't know any better. We weren't experienced enough to know that things can get really bad really fast.
By early evening, the snow returns. They can hardly see where they're headed. Then, without warning, they're hit by a blizzard. As Jim fights to keep control of the truck, he doesn't see the sign that says the road they're on is closed.
This is weird. It's totally deserted. Wait, you know what? I think we took a wrong turn back there.
Whoa!
Jim, we're in about 2 feet of snow! Jim, stop! You're making it worse! Jim, stop! Stop!
Right there was when fear hit me, like, oh, God, wow, that's a lot of snow. That's pretty deep.
believe this.
What is this stupid road anyway?
We are going nowhere tonight.
People get stuck in the snow all the time, and it's not that much of an issue because there are other people around to help.
500 miles away in Pocatello, Jim's mom is growing anxious.
Hearing the reports on the news about the pass near Reno, I really did not want him traveling because it was bad all across the area.
Even the plows were no.
When they didn't call that night or show up that night, we figured that they had probably spent the night in a hotel.
What have we done? How could we be so stupid?
Look, the only place we can be is somewhere here. We must have left the 299 right about here.
Let me look. Wildlife refuge. God, it's huge. What are we gonna do, Jim?
What Jim and Jennifer decide to do next will be nothing short of a life or death decision for them and their baby.
There was so much snow underneath the truck, in front of it, behind it.
My stepson has no reason to go AWOL.
It's the day before the funeral, and Jim's stepfather, Kevin, has a bad feeling.
But how long does it take before someone is listed as a missing person?
A call to the highway patrol draws a blank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for your help, except you haven't been any. Goodbye.
As the second night approaches, they do their best to defend themselves against the freezing cold.
We were still kind of hopeful. Most survival experts would say, chances are better that they'll find you if you stay where you initially were. So we decided to stay with the truck.
After 2 freezing nights in the truck, what little food they have has almost gone.
Clayton was breastfeeding still, and we were just introducing solids into his diet. The little bits of baby food that we had left, we tried to ration to him in conjunction with breastfeeding as best we could.
You want some fruitcake? You should eat, you know.
We should have brought some real food.
We had crumbs of this bag of chips and a fruitcake, which Jennifer didn't eat. She didn't like it and didn't want it. So I ate that. And that was all we had as far as food goes.
Jim's grandmother's funeral takes place as scheduled. Where Jim, Jennifer, and baby Clayton are now is anyone's guess.
We left my sister's house, left a note on the door for Jim and Jennifer just in case they would show up, hoping that they would make it there.
We should maybe write something. Just a note to whoever might, you know, just in case.
We wrote a will, you know, as a last kind of goodbye.
Mostly just apologies, really. Like, just really, you know, we loved each other, and if that was what was going to happen, at least we were all together for it.
If you are reading this, then we must be dead. Don't be sad. We tried our best to make it, but God must have wanted or needed us sooner than we thought. Please cremate my body and bury Jim in the Forest Hills Cemetery by his grandfather.
And Clay?
In California, the rescue effort is getting lots of phone tips, but there's a downside, figuring out which ones are bogus.
By this time, we were getting information from people who thought they had seen them. They had seen them south, they had seen them north, they had seen them along the highway with some strange person. They were really, truly missing, and we may never see them again.
Jim and Jennifer's despair at not finding the highway is painful enough, but now they are forced to fight for every yard just to get back to the truck before nightfall, and it's a losing battle.
Late that evening, we made it back to this big outcropping of rocks. Oh, it was so windy that it was blowing me over. It was just awful. We decided to try to find a little cove or just something to get out of the wind.
We just used a sleeping bag and threw it over the top of our bodies. Our feet were mostly exposed, but got as warm as we could and kind of slept for the night.
Their decision to leave the truck has cost this family dearly, both physically and mentally. What they decide to do in the morning is the toughest call they'll ever make. Jim, Jennifer, and the baby survive a 5th night in their frozen hell. They even get a little lucky, if you want to call it luck. It stops snowing.
When I stood up,
What's the matter with me?
All right.
it was like my hips were they were just done. I could not walk. The pain was just excruciating. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to go very far for that day. I knew I needed to walk, and I wanted to, but my body just wasn't gonna let me do it.
Jim spots somewhere to hole up. Even a crawl space in the rock seems like luxury after last night.
Are you okay in there?
Sure.
I was thinking, here we are in the middle of nowhere, no food. How the hell are we gonna get out of this?
Things are beyond desperate. Jim makes a hard decision.
Honey, I need to go on alone. You and Clay can stay in here out of the cold.
But we said we'd stay together.
I have to keep going.
Please. Please don't leave me alone. What if you don't come back? I can't.
She broke down crying, knowing that we were going to be separated now. I think deep down we both knew that it was the only thing we could really do.
I mean, I understood where he was coming from, but I didn't want him to go. I thought that separating would probably be the worst thing.
Please, Jim, please.
I'll be back. I promise.
We kissed each other and told each other we loved each other, you know, just tons, and he promised me that he would be back in 3 days.
Could have been the last time I had seen them alive. And went down the hill and marked the spot with a colorful sweatshirt, and don't think I looked back. I just turned into a machine and walked.
It was very, very frightening to watch him walk away. I don't know, just didn't know if I was ever gonna see him again or if I was just gonna die here in the cave with my son or what, you know.
This was a seemingly never-ending task. Just walking and walking. Every now and then I would sing Army cadence to myself, kind of to keep my pace going. You know, I just couldn't stop. I just kept going and going.
After 6 days without food or water and near total exhaustion, Jim fights to stay awake. If he falls asleep now, he risks freezing to death.
Periodically, if I found an area that I could get out of the wind, I would huddle down and maybe let my eyes close a few times and just try to relax a little bit.
Please don't leave me alone.
I really didn't want to let myself sleep, just for fear that I wouldn't wake up.
I did the best I could with keeping Clay hydrated. Just, you know, breastfed him as much as possible. But I really didn't think that I was producing much milk for him. So I started melting the snow and sort of, you know, spitting it into his mouth like a little baby bird.
After an incredible physical effort, Jim finds the truck again.
I got back to the truck that night, thankful that I was going to be out of the wind and hoping that I could start the truck and feel warmth for the first time in a few days. But since the truck had sat untouched as long as it did, it wouldn't come to life anymore. And I just laid on the front seat and went to sleep. I woke very early, just started going again. Not too far down the road, I came across the sign. So I knew that I must be getting close to something. I was thinking, you know, with no food, barely any water, no real rest, how am I going to walk that far? I was thinking, who cares if I die? Who cares if you die? Clayton, you know, he'll never have his first birthday. That was pretty much my driving force to, at any cost, get us out of there.
Jim walks through the night. Stopping means freezing to death.
The sun was shining, the snow would melt down, and there'd be little puddles of water in the little nooks and crannies of the rocks. And I thought that maybe if I took a cloth belt, I could, like, suck on that to get water. My feet really, really started hurting really bad. And my shoes were just frozen. I mean, they were solid.
Under the frozen boots, Jennifer's feet are frozen too. Her blood is slowing. Water in her cells is forming ice crystals, which grow and rupture the cell walls. Her flesh is dying. But only as her foot warms in the air do Jennifer's nerves begin to feel the damage done.
They started hurting really bad as they were thawing. I actually put them back in the snow to numb them back up again.
By refreezing her feet, Jennifer is only masking the pain and making the frostbite worse, speeding up the process that can destroy them for good.
I knew that I must be getting close to something when the road was somewhat plowed. So that lightened my spirit a little bit. Then I could have swore that I saw a pickup truck. No, it can't be. Who would live out here? For an instant, I thought maybe I was hallucinating, but I didn't have time to second guess myself.
Help! 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 Help!
Listen, my wife and baby are out there in a cave.
I blurted out everything that had just happened, and this grizzled-looking, middle-of-nowhere living man, Dave Peterson, looked at me like I was just crazy.
This is Dave P. Dusty, are you there? Over.
Dave drove me back to his house. He radioed his coworker.
Come in, Dusty. Over.
Cave's over to the right by the ridge. Blue sweatshirt's on the tree.
I didn't know if I would see my family again. I didn't know what their condition would be, or if I'd be going to have to make preparations for a funeral.
We got a call, and the first indication that something was going on was Kevin's assistant held up her hand to quiet everyone.
Hello? What? They found Jimmy.
And of course, everyone in our house just started jumping up and down, yelling and screaming.
Oh.
But then we heard
I see.
that Jennifer and the baby were not with him.
Hey, tiny bird. We're gonna fly away real soon.
I would fall asleep and then wake up and check on Clay, and he wasn't really making any, he wasn't crying, it looked like he was slowly dying, is what it seemed like, because he just wasn't doing anything, just laying there.
Even though Dave and Dusty know the area well, it takes them several hours to find the cave.
And I thought I had heard engine sounds. I didn't really know if I was still dreaming or if I was really hearing something. And then that was when I saw the big bulldozer that was in front with the flashing light. And there was someone in it, and I just started waving and screaming. Help! It was really, it was amazing seeing those guys, coming up there. And I've never been so happy to see two people, just strangers, in my entire life.
Oh, my baby. Oh, I got you, baby.
Oh, is Jim okay?
They said, yeah, he's okay, or we wouldn't be here. And I couldn't walk, so they had to carry me down the hill, and I felt really awful that they had to do that, and it looked awful. My hair was a big rat's nest, and I just kept apologizing to them. I'm sorry, I stink. Oh, and I was just so thirsty. I had just begged, just please, do one of you guys have something to drink? And Dusty had an orange in his lunch from work. He just really started sucking on, nursing on it.
9 days of what they went through. It was just a miracle.
I was still pretty looped up on pain medicine when they arrived at the hospital. It was more nonverbal communication across the room, looking at each other in disbelief at what had just happened.
Hey, little boy. How are you?
They told us that Clayton was really, really dehydrated.
Hey.
He had a really bad diaper rash. But then otherwise, once they gave him fluids and everything, that they thought he was going to be all right.
That is so scary.
Jim and Jennifer's frostbite was so severe that they both had to have all of their toes amputated. It took 4 months before either Jim or Jennifer could walk again. And today, other than their frostbite injuries, they show no lasting effects from their ordeal. Clayton grew into a perfectly healthy young man.
I guess the price that we paid, our feet, was just nothing compared to having Clayton be whole and healthy. And we just had to look at Clay and go, okay, it's all right.